Growing up, we hear a ton of terrible news stories ranging from across the world to our own local communities, with some in particular that stick out like a sore thumb for the rest of our lives. Out of every tragic passing that I've heard about throughout my life, this is one that I've never forgotten since. 12-year-old Rebecca Sedwick was an ordinary schoolgirl who grew up originally in Sebring, Florida. While battling with depression and anxiety as a result of bullying, she began to engage in self-mutilation by cutting herself. Subsequently, her mother noticed the slashes on her wrists, and Rebecca was hospitalized for 3 days straight as a result. After returning to school, she began getting picked on by one of her own classmates, which resulted in her being withdrawn from public school for the time being. Her mother also deactivated her social media accounts and took away her phone to ease the pain she was going through. After transferring to a different school several months later after beginning 7th grade, Rebecca seemed a lot happier. Her mother told the New York Times that she was preparing to audition for chorus and thinking of cheerleading again. Because of the improvement in her mental health, she was given her phone privileges back, and she opened accounts on social media platforms like Kik, Ask.fm, and Voxer. Snapshots later emerged of anonymous comments that were written to Rebecca on Ask.fm saying things like, "No one cares about you. You seriously deserve to die," and "Drink bleach and die." It became clear as day that, as the bullying became more extreme, Rebecca was beginning to have thoughts about taking her own life. These thoughts were discovered to have begun about a year prior to her death. The investigation also showed new conflicts with students at school, and Rebecca was withdrawn from public school in February 2013. A search of Rebecca's mobile phone and computer uncovered internet searches like, "What is overweight for a 13-year-old girl?" and "How much Advil do you have to overdose in order to die?" Pictures of Rebecca with razor blades lying on her arms were found on her phone, and her phone wallpaper showed pictures of her head resting on the edge of a railroad track. One 14-year-old girl was accused of threatening to beat her up while they were 6th graders at Crystal Lake Middle School, after she had been dating a boy that Rebecca was friendly with. The 14-year-old girl convinced a younger schoolmate, who was the same age as Rebecca, to repeatedly intimidate her and call her names. The younger girl even allegedly beat Rebecca up on one occasion. Authorities went as far as to claim that she was harassed online by up to 15 former friends. Before her death, she changed her name on one of her social media apps to "That Dead Girl," and texted a friend in North Carolina reading, "I'm jumping. I can't take it anymore." On September 9th, 2013, Rebecca never boarded her school bus, and instead was found dead after jumping off an abandoned cement plant.
A new twist tonight in the bullying case, making headlines after a 12-year-old girl was bullied by classmates and took her own life. A tough-talking sheriff decided to take action, and tonight he is leveling a brand new charge. He has arrested the mother of an alleged bully. Why? ABC's Matt Gutman tells us.
The news story caught widespread attention from across the country and even outside the United States, with a major talking point being the growing popularity of social media, and hence a rise in cyberbullying. The two girls who had victimized her the most were charged with felony aggravated stalking after her passing. The piece of cyber evidence, which the town sheriff said led to the arrest of the two girls, was a Facebook post on the 14-year-old girl's page on October 12, 2012, which said, "Yes, I bullied Rebecca, and she took her own life, but I don't give a fuck." But her parents said that she was asleep at the time of that posting, and that her account must have been hacked. "My daughter's a good girl, and I'm 100% sure that whatever they're saying about my daughter is not true," a family member of hers said. Although it was never disclosed or discovered who sent these anonymous messages, it's clear that Rebecca Sedwick was in serious emotional pain. The mother of the 14-year-old girl was also arrested for 2 counts of child abuse and bodily harm, which may be an indication of the conditions the teenage girl was raised in that caused her to act so aggressive to Rebecca. Afterwards, the charges against the two girls were dropped due to insufficient evidence, and later on, a lawsuit filed by one of the suspect's parents complained that Florida authorities used the tragic death of a young girl as an opportunity for media attention. The complaint went on to say that the younger suspect was maliciously labeled as the poster child example of a cyberbully to media outlets nationwide after she was blamed for Rebecca's apparent death in a press release. After further investigation, it was discovered that Rebecca had also been battling depression resulting from the deteriorating relationship with her father, who was divorced from her mother several years earlier. She also became stressed over the amount of arguments between her mom and stepfather. It's interesting to look back at an era like this, regarding the outcry of toxicity within social media sites, because the problem has arguably only escalated since. Apps like Instagram, Reddit, and Twitter were relatively new at the time, and kids back then probably had even less access to online communities than they do nowadays. Which is why a topic like this and the people that are hurt the most from it shouldn't be taken for granted. I never knew Rebecca personally, but I'm confident she continues to be missed by her family every day. Rebecca's mother later established the Rebecca Sedwick Funeral Fund and anti-bullying campaign, with an intended goal to receive donations to support anti-bullying awareness education and programs for children and teens with mental health problems. If you're someone struggling with mental health problems, please reach out to someone you love and trust or talk to a counselor. There's always help.